I just realized something. Every single doctor that ever did any good for me or ever helped me to get to the bottom of an illness was a doctor that didn't have my folder or my background. When I move to a new state, before I sign any releases, they do a good job with me. Soon as I sign a release and they start reading my mother's and father's bullshit, everything goes haywire. When I go online asking doctors questions, like if I was given medication, lost my eyesight, lost the ability to use my nervous system, could not stand up, my breathing slowed down, I went unconscious, I was age 7, woke up later without the feeling of my nervous system, what would you call that? Is it called an allergy? If you go online asking that question, they'll all tell you, fuck no, 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 hell no, fuck no, 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 hell no, fuck no, 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 no. Every doctor will tell you that. But yet, when I was in the doctor's office with my mother and father, over and over, and they knew something was wrong, because my mother kept on saying, it's an allergy attack. They just put it on my file and looked into it. But then my mother would move me to Texas as soon as the doctors started looking into it. As soon as teachers started looking into it, they would move me to frickin' around. So I find it kind of funny that if a doctor doesn't have my background that my mother and father created, if they only have the background that I know is real, if I tell them my childhood, I have a loss of education, I grew up a little bit slow, I went to special ed schools, I was on many, many medications from the age of 5, I experienced overdosed, I was over medicated, I had a crazy mother who nobody wanted to get any mental health. Nobody put my mother in any mental health places. I think my mother might have been schizophrenic too, because she kept on trying to get schizophrenic medication, even though nobody in the household was schizophrenic, according to everybody. But she kept on trying to push with doctors to give her child schizophrenic medication, even though her child was not schizophrenic. And every single doctor for 15 years told her so, but she continued and continued pushing to get pills she did not need. And she would get them put into my body. The problem with that is a lot of times they were forced into me at programs or hospitals. So my mother would try to get like 8 or 9 pills, and then I would be forced to take them as they make me sick. So most of the doctors in my life that have checked through my background with my mother and father created, I get seriously hurt. They malpractice me. They use the wrong drugs. They make me sicker. They make me vomit. They make me hurt. They cause seizures, different types of disorders to get worse. Why? Because they're using fraudulent medical records, fraudulent statements from my mother and father to diagnose an illness. A doctor is only as good as the information you give him. So if a doctor is basing his care off my mother's and father's information, I'm going to get killed. But if the doctor bases it upon the real information, the information really about this person, Zachary, then they can make a wise decision. But the insurance will never pay out for any testing. I'll never be able to get anything done at the doctor's thanks to my mother and father. Because you have to sign releases and you have to give your name to get the insurance to pay for medical care. So I'm fucked. I will never get medical care from anybody who ever gets my name for the rest of my life thanks to my mother and father. But if I move to another state for the first couple months, I get good medical care because they don't have a release. And if I go online just asking questions, or if I speak to a doctor who comes into my store asking them questions, I get such good answers. Very, very helpful answers. But if I go to a doctor that's read 15 years of my file, 15 years of my mother's stories and fantasies, They don't know to make heads or tails. They're all confused. They're looped. They got only after Texas, so they only have from age 12 to 19. Then when I was living in the woods, they have nothing from childhood. They have nothing that I was talking about. They have none of my illnesses that I was talking about. All they see is my mother's fantasies. Oh, my son has bipolar. He's a kleptomaniac and he's a liar. How do I know this, doctor? Because he wrote his name on this swimming medal. Yeah, he stole this swimming medal from an African American. Put his name on it to hurt me. He has attachment disorder. He lied about it. He's a thief. All these things. And I'm going to call him these things for the rest of his life. Meanwhile, what's the truth? What should this doctor be really listening to? He should be listening to, my son went blind. He couldn't see out of his eyeballs. He had a reaction to medication. He has coordination issues. He's bumping in the furniture. He can't talk right. I'm going to puke. He's very sick. He's skinny, underweight. He seems sick to his stomach all the time. When I give him lots of pills, he doesn't seem to want to eat food. When I give him lots of pills, he doesn't look good. And on Halloween, he got extremely sick and couldn't go out trick-or-treating while vomiting for hours. We also gave him a full bottle of Ipecac as a punishment. These are the type of things that need to be discussed with a doctor at age 7. But instead, what is my mother discussing? A medal I won in an orphanage. I treaded water at a pool that the orphanage brought us to. They said whoever treaded water the longest would get a swimming medal and everybody else would get a small prize. I got the swimming medal. Some other people got like lollipops and parachute men and things like that. They put ZG, what was my name at the time, on the back of the medal. They told me to make sure nobody steals it. I put it in my Lego box. I went through foster care. I got adopted by an adopted mother, or I was in foster care with my foster mother. I wanted to show this mother my accomplishment because I was playing with my Legos and said, oh, my mother would love to see this. So I walked to my mother. I say, look at the medal I won in the orphanage. Then she snatches this medal out of my hand and says, oh, I'm taking this from you. This isn't African Americans. This isn't yours. Look at this. You're putting your old last name on it. Yeah, you wrote that. No, nobody else wrote that. That's not your handwriting, but you still wrote it. Yeah, it's you. No, I won it in the orphanage. No, you're a liar. No, you're a thief. No, you need more pills. You need more meds. I'm talking to the doctor. You can't have this medal back. You stole it. All fantasies my mother made up. Then she brought this medal to the doctor's office, making up stories to the psychiatrists and doctors, trying to have me over-medicated. Not only that, she gave me an overdose and didn't get me an ambulance. Then my mother gave me full bottles of Ipecac as punishment. That was a fucked up thing. She also used to throw shoes at me, smack me around. When doctors and teachers wanted to help me, she moved me to Texas. When the people and doctors in Texas wanted to help me, she moved me into New Mexico where there were no doctors in the mountains. There was nobody to help me, no teachers, no doctors, nobody. Just a big black man choking kids, going to take an 8-year-old in the shower, an 8-year-old girl who's naked in the shower that's just taking a little too long, goes in there and starts choking her out naked as she cries and screams. And every single kid in the program can hear this little girl cry and scream in the bathroom. I mean, you got little boys like me, age 9, getting choked out on the ground. We got bruises on our shoulders. We turn blue because he's collapsing our windpipes, and then we pass out. We got all the kids being brought out at midnight into the middle of the woods because this African American guy wants to go hunting for a black bear, so he lets us play some flashlight tag in the middle of the woods. That way, if one of us screams, he can come running and shoot the bear. Meanwhile, we're playing it in the dark, so he doesn't have eyes on us at all. He's just waiting to hear a scream so he can shoot a bear. But he's not thinking of the welfare of the kids at all. We've spotted a cougar, a black bear. There's a black bear that goes through our dumpster, and he just wants to go hunting and kill this bear. So he uses us as bait while he goes hunting. Now, we're too young. We're 9, 7, 6, a couple 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, and he only brought the young kids out to do this. Only the people under like 11. So we didn't know that this staff member taking a gun, putting it in his jacket, like a bear gun, like one of these big bear guns that they had, because it was going through the dumpster. Big giant black bear used to go to their dumpster all the time. We had rattlesnakes everywhere. See, what they were doing is they were trying to make money to open up a program. So they advertised. They did make a fake it until you make it strategy. They put out advertisements for a program that wasn't built yet. Then when parents, rich asshole parents that had attachment disorder, yes, parents that weren't attached to their kids, would just pay to have their kids put up so they could go on a 2 year vacation. A lot of every single kid in there came from millionaire families. Most of them, their families owned 3 companies and multiple houses. Every single kid there came from money. All of them. All of them very, very wealthy families. All these kids crying from their mothers. All these kids attached to their mothers and fathers wanting it. We got kids trying to walk 100 miles in the snow to get to their mother and father. This is no joke. But the parents are not attached to their children, so they're willing to put their children on fields of rattlesnakes. Oh my. Ah. Oh, there's nothing in my stomach to come up. How is there that taste? I'm gonna have to stop this video due to puke. Anyways, not a good childhood. And now my father wants to lie, manipulate, say, oh, it's all a fantasy, it's all made up. Use the same thing he said for the swimming medal. Steal a little kid's lollipop, steal a little kid's swimming medal, steal your child's accomplishments, cripple your child, and then run away lying, saying, it's a fantasy, it's a lie, it's a fantasy, it's a lie, while hundreds of people had to watch it, while his whole family had to watch it, as his own sons and daughters and grandsons came up and said, you poor, poor kid. On his wife's funeral, everybody came up to me and said, how could you be sad for your mother after what she was doing to you? Yes, I had multiple people say that at my own mother's funeral. I'm there dressed in black, mourning my mother, crying, and people are coming up to me going, you shouldn't be sad, you should be dancing on her grave. How are you sad for this mother of yours? We saw her doing awful things to you for years. Aren't you happy? No, see, they think that this is all going to get better, like a fucking miracle. Like, now that she's dead, the Witch of the West is going to come down from space and wave her magic wand and undo all the damage that was done. That's not how things work. You guys get to move on because you guys weren't drugged. You guys weren't poisoned. You guys weren't beat. You guys didn't go without your childhood education. You guys weren't moved around. You guys didn't go without health care. You guys didn't have seizures at a young age. You guys weren't choked out by a black man. You guys weren't fed food poisoned food. You guys didn't get poisoned with pills over and over. You guys didn't have your mothers lie about you for 15 years during your childhood. So yes, they get to move on. But all my medical records, all my social security, all my life has been literally crashed. When I go to social security, they tell me, sorry, your mother already collected, and her case is loopy as shit, and yours doesn't make any sense because of hers. If you were coming in and your father and mother never collected on you and never said these things, then we would believe you because we have enough evidence. You got scars, seizures, all this. But we have no records of anybody looking into this for the last childhood. You say it started at age 7, but why did nobody do anything about it then? Oh, that's because really easy. My father and mother didn't give a fuck. When a black man was choking me and I had a seizure in the woods, you think if I told them they were going to take me out of there? No. You know how I know that for sure? Because they never did that. When a school was literally just letting the students play with toys, and I came home and said, hey, for the last 6 months, we haven't had a single class. The teacher leaves the room, and then we just play on the floor. This is a special ed, very small class of 12. So my father got notified by his son that he's playing toys all year round. No classes whatsoever. Oh, 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 it's hard to move my arm while that noise is there. But it won't stop until I move my arm. My leg just spasmed, my stomach just spasmed just from me trying to move my arm. And when I try to move it, my muscle spasmed in my arm. 25 years of this, and I'm still not receiving medical care at the age of 31. Why? Because my mother and father like to lie so much. Even they lie about their lying. I'm not even kidding. They'll say, "Our son's fantasizing. Our son's lying. Our son's fantasizing," over and over and over. That's a lie. That's a blatant lie. My father knows my mother was doing crazy shit. My father knows my mother was popping my Vicodin. My father knows something happened to me in Westford. My father knows I was speaking up about the loss of my vision and my use of my body. My father was told by doctors and teachers that his son has problems moving his body. He knows that his son is wearing jackets in 80 degrees and falling to the ground during fireworks and one thing after another. But yet, my father's going to go with bullshit because he doesn't remember or he doesn't want to deal with it. Well, that's no excuse. If you don't want to remember or if you don't want to do the work necessary, that's a you problem. So you need to ask your son, well, what are you talking about? And then your son will go, I'm talking about the overdose at age 7 at the doctor's office. I don't remember any of that. Well, okay, we're going to have to track down the records then for you. Oh, there's records? Oh, yeah, Dad, there's records. So all we have to do is go down to Westford and start driving around, figuring out who has records for a 7-year-old Zachary Newell. I mean, there's plenty of doctor's offices, and then we just got to find that mystery allergy attack, and there we go. That's all. Oh, you don't remember Mother taking my Percocet? You don't remember that? Let me jog your memory how it went. And if you don't remember, you have to take my word for it, because that's a you problem. If I'm going to struggle and have to relive PTSD memories and literally walk through the memory describing what happened every single minute, what's on the ceiling, what's on the wall, what you said, and literally put myself through that. Literally tell you again that your wife is taking my pills, that you said it was okay because it was only one time, and then Patricia continued taking my pills and nothing was done about it, and then she went to liver failure little bit after that. So, keep that in mind. Patricia was popping more pills than she was supposed to. And you know, a lot of these pills Patricia was popping have Tylenol in them. Like she popped Tylenol with Percocet. Those things have a lot of Tylenol. You can't pop Percocet with Tylenol to get a buzz. You can't. You can take one or two if you're in pain or you're shaking. If you're a teenager, maybe you could take two and you might feel something because you've never taken opiates before. But as far as a mother that's been taking opiates for 40 years, off and on, had multiple injuries, she's being prescribed pink opiate pills from her doctor, that person should not be taking 5 Percocet with Tylenol. She shouldn't be taking her son's Vicodin. She shouldn't be taking her son's Xanax. She's taking way too many pills, and she's trying to put pills into her son like crazy without even understanding what's going on. Her son's talking about an overdose at age 7 and wanting help with it, but he's still talking about it at age 31, waiting. I wanted help with it at age 7. My mother lied, and I didn't get help. I wanted help with it at age 8. My mother lied, I didn't get help. I wanted help at age 9. My mother lied, I didn't get help. Then, I was thrown in New Mexico. My mother started trying to throw me around the fucking country. Why? Because I told doctors and wanted help. I told doctors and I wanted help. Oh. So then she just stopped allowing me to see doctors. She moved me to a cabin up in New Mexico where there was no supervision and the whole place was a wreck. Then she moved me to Maine with no doctors, no supervision, no schools, no education, nothing for those 2 years. Literally 2 years of just playing in the woods, playing outside, no classes whatsoever. Sorry about the dry heaving. I gotta stop. I'll finish this later.